Folks, good evening and welcome back to the Snakebite. It is our weekly sports show that airs every single Wednesday at 5. I'm John Kristovich with James Simpson, and boy, we had an awesome weekend in Moccasin Athletics. Wins across the board. We cannot wait to tell you about it. Here's this week's edition of the Snakebite. As we get going here, we will take a look at our weekly rundown of scores from this past weekend, which, by the way, as I mentioned, was a huge weekend in Moccasin Athletics. As we get a look at it here, baseball with the sweep, softball with the sweep, men's golf against some tough competition, good work there. Women's lacrosse team picked up a huge win. Women's basketball with a pair of wins this week. A lot of good things to talk about. So, James, it's going to be interesting to see. Well, we start with the women who picked up a huge win in the SSC tournament yesterday.
That's right. They opened up the Sunshine State Conference tournament with a massive road win against Nova Southeastern University last night, beating the Sharks by a final score of 69-67. Sydney Gomez hit 2 free throws with 11 seconds to go to give the Mocs the late lead, and then a defensive stand was good enough to send the Mocs to the second round of the tournament. In the back-and-forth affair, Ashley Schell and Ariel Dabu each scored 14. This comes after the Mocs earned the 5th seed in their win on senior night over the Barry Buccaneers on Saturday, 72-50. We had the chance to talk with Ashley Schell after the win.
Ashley, 15 points, a W in your last regular season home game here. What's going through your head?
It's kind of like a surreal feeling. It doesn't seem real. I feel like I have some more games coming up, but I know I don't. I know that will hit me soon, but we had a good win. We needed this win.
Well, you do have at least one more game coming up. It's going to be against Nova Southeastern this Tuesday on the road. So you've already beaten before. What's the mentality going into that one?
It's new season. Anybody can beat anybody. We're not trying to end our season now. And, yeah, we're going to fight. So we're going for it.
Well, a little bit of a rut scoring, but not in the first half today. 48 points. What clicked for you guys?
Honestly, just going out and playing for each other. Being senior night, we had a lot of energy. That helped a lot. And also just playing for one of the people from Noah's Ark. He passed away yesterday. We were playing for him, so yeah.
Well, congratulations and good luck in the conference tournament.
Thank you.
The team is back in action tomorrow night as they take on the University of Tampa Spartans on the road. The Mocs lost to Tampa in the SSC Championship last season, so they'll be looking for some revenge. It ought to be a good one between the rivals here on I-4.
And on the men's side, they actually fell in the SSC tournament to 6th-seeded Embry-Riddle, 96-88. Mocs were down 62-43 going into halftime, and they needed a massive comeback to keep their season alive. And they did get a massive comeback. They rallied behind the duo of Jaden Booth and E.J. Damberville, eventually getting the game within 3 points a couple times. They ultimately fell short. The Mocs allowed Embry-Riddle to regain momentum and pull away with the win despite outscoring Embry-Riddle by 11 points in the second half. Mocs finished with a record of 19-9 and an in-conference record of 13-7. They now await the NCAA selection show where the top 8 teams in the South region will be selected. That'll take place on Sunday night at 10 p.m.
The women's lacrosse team is coming off a huge win this past weekend as they beat the second-ranked Adelphi Panthers 15-10 on Friday night. Gianna Murphy was fantastic in the win, racking up 5 goals to set a new career high as the newcomer leads the team with 11 on the young season. Murphy was named the IWLCA National Player of the Week for her efforts as the Mocs moved up to 3rd in the most recent Division II poll. Lizzie Lynch also tacked on 5 goals to give the Mocs a huge win as they outscored the visiting Panthers 8-1 over the course of the second half to beat Adelphi. Riley Rittberg came into play the second half and made 4 huge saves, and our Emma Lauren Poole caught up with her after the game.
Well, congrats on the big win tonight. So amazing for this team. You came in the second half, had 4 huge saves, and limited the number 2 team in the country to only 1 goal. What clicked for the team during the second half?
Honestly, I just think our energy was up a lot. Everyone went in with a lot of momentum into the second half, and we were just playing for each other and leaving everything out there, every ground ball, every interception, everything. We were just playing for each other at that point, and we were just really gelling well as a team and seeing the open girl and everything.
Yeah, this is a huge win for the team, and it marks the 3rd win this season so far against a ranked opponent, including the 2 road wins previously in the season. What does this mean for the team, and what will it mean going forward?
I think it's just a really good momentum for the beginning of the season. Like, everyone's really getting along really well on and off the field. Everyone's gelling really well. On the road, we had a few mistakes, but we learned from them. And going into this game, everyone was super excited. We had a lot of energy in the locker room before. Everyone was just ready to play, and we just want revenge from last year.
The women's team is back on the road as they take on Lee University and the University of Alabama Huntsville.
On the men's side, the team dropped to 2-2 on the young season after falling to number 12 Limestone 20-15. And for the second time in as many games, the Mocs were outmatched in the second half. They were outscored 12-6 over the final 30 minutes, including 7-2 in the final quarter. Max Freestone got off to a great start in the net, and the attacking unit of Sean Nolan and Matt Flamenspeck played particularly well, but the hard-charging Saints were the better team in the final 15 to secure the win. Mocs now with 2 losses already under their belt. They look ahead to 4 more home games coming up starting this Saturday against Dominican.
Men's tennis has not stopped moving as they've had 3 matches since our last episode. After falling to SSC rivals Rollins earlier in the week, the Mocs knocked off number 4 nationally ranked Flagler College in a close 4-3 victory by sweeping all doubles courts and putting together some inspiring play as they mounted singles play comebacks to close the match. They found themselves down on singles points with just 2 courts remaining and upstepped Mario Garros and Alex Fascio to win their 3rd sets and give the Mocs the victory. Fascio's play was enough to earn SSC Athlete of the Week, the Mocs' 3rd SSC Athlete of the Week in men's tennis competition this season. Just yesterday, the Mocs added another win against Davenport University to bring their overall record to 5-3. The team squares off against the University of Findlay tomorrow at 3 right here at Florida Southern.
Both tennis teams have hit a hot streak as the women won all 3 matches this week as well. Last Wednesday, they secured a big win over SSC and fellow top 25 competitor Rollins College, coming away with a 4-3 victory. Leah Pisani scored a big 3-set victory at a crucial moment in the match, inspiring the Mocs to close out the remaining courts for the big victory. That winning spirit continued against SSC foe on Friday with a 6-1 victory over Eckerd College in St. Petersburg. They swept the Tritons again in doubles play while dropping just 1 match in singles before moving on to Davenport University yesterday, dispatching them in convincing fashion with another 6-1 victory. The win streak comes at a great time for the Lady Mocs as they travel to Hilton Head, South Carolina this weekend. That's a great spot for spring break for a series of matches against quality opponents.
The baseball team has notched a huge sweep over Eckerd in the opening conference series this past weekend. On Friday, Jeff LaCorey and Connor Berry both homered, and starting pitcher Nathan Madej finished with 13 strikeouts in an 8-4 win. The Mocs kept the momentum going into Saturday's doubleheader as the team tallied 3 home runs in the first game, hit by Safrowich, LaCorey, and Drew Kavanaugh. Eric McAtee had a great start, throwing 5 no-hit innings with the team winning 9-8. And in Game 3, the Mocs kept the Tritons to only 5 runs with an impressive 14-5 victory that gave them the series. Sophomore Drew Kavanaugh was named Sunshine State Conference Player of the Week for the 2nd time this season as he batted 5 for 10 at the plate with 2 homers and 5 RBI in the 3-game series. They kept things going last night with their most explosive game of the season, beating Florida Tech 17-7 in a non-conference matchup. Kavanaugh was fantastic again, coming in just a single away from the cycle in the win, and they're back at it against Assumption in a 1-game series this Friday night at home.
1-game series, another series W for the Mocs, 8 straight, explosive. Well, the softball team has gotten an early start on spring cleaning as they swept Eckerd College in their conference home opener over the weekend. On Friday night, Game 1 saw a 3-1 victory for the Mocs thanks to RBIs from Maddie Connor and Mariah Rodriguez, while Games 2 and 3 came on a doubleheader Saturday afternoon. Mocs won 6-4 in Game 2 and 5-4 in Game 3. 3 really close victories for Florida Southern. Center fielder Skylar Ralston impressed throughout the series, batting 6 of 12 with 3 RBIs, maintaining her perfect fielding percentage in the outfield in the process. Defensively, senior Mel Rogers picked up the win in Game 2, pitching all 7 innings, allowing 4 earned runs, striking out 7, while Ashley Blesson pitched complete games in both Game 1 and 3, allowing just 2 earned runs in her 14 innings played. Our Carl Van Gelder caught up with head coach Mo Schreiner after the big sweep.
Hey, thank you guys. Here with Mocs coach, Coach Schreiner. Coach, you guys just swept Eckerd in the last 3 games. How important is this for you guys to get 3 wins against an SSC opponent?
It's huge. It's huge. You know, for this team, we haven't won. There's only one super senior on our team. She's the only one that's had a 3-game sweep. So it's huge for us. We have some big games coming up, and it kind of gets us a little bit of momentum. We've had some games where we kind of do some really good things, and then we have where we just don't do anything right. But this is really good. I mean, we did a little bit of hitting was good, pitching was good, and then we had to compete right there, and we made a little bonehead mistakes, but we'll fix it.
You talked about hitting. You guys did really well on the offensive end, scoring 5 runs on multiple occasions. How are you hoping to continue this offensive output?
I think we've been doing a good job at practice, trying to put them in a lot of situational hitting, and during BP we'll put runners on and tell them they have to score. And if we don't score, we'll just do little reminder runs. But it's been good where they have to focus on those kind of things, because sometimes if you don't put yourself in those situations, it's really hard to do in a game.
And you guys had some costly errors in that last game. You guys were overall still able to win the game. How are you guys hoping to kind of clean up that a little bit going into your future matchups?
I think the biggest thing is we just need to focus. We need to focus from the first pitch of the game to the last pitch of the game. And, you know, we're going to work on that at practice because, you know, we can't let that end up turning into an L for us. So, yeah, we'll be working on it. Don't you worry.
Thank you, Coach.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Back to you guys.
Well, how about that strikeout there? Well, the Mocs improved to 7-4 and 4-2 in the SSC. They'll return to Chris Pilato Field Friday, March 5th for a doubleheader versus Wilmington University at 5 and 7 p.m.
The FSC men's hockey team knocked off the University of Florida 13-3 on Saturday night. Teams were tightly matched in the opening period as Paul Rigolini and Keaton Clay scored to make it 2-2 after 20 minutes. The teams traded goals to open the second, but from that point forward, it was all Mocs all night long as they rattled off 10 goals to end the game, with Clay leading the way with 4. The Mocs will begin the playoffs this Friday at home as they take on Embry-Riddle. The men's hockey team will also be traveling to Pennsylvania next week to compete in the Division III Club Nationals.
Big stuff for the men's hockey team. They get better every year. Well, that brings us to our Week in Mocs History segment, and today we are looking at March 6th, 2013, when the Mocson's 200 medley relay team of 𝙏𝙃𝙀, SSC Swimmer of the Decade, by the way, Miguel Ferreira, Alan Gutierrez, and Robbie Swan swam a time of 1:27:21 in the 200 medley relay to win the national championship for the event. And now, James, 10 years later, championships coming up next weekend, and we'll see both the men's and women's swim teams going at it. Well, that'll do it for this week's edition of the Snakebite. John Kristovich with James Simpson saying thank you so much for tuning in. We hope you enjoy your spring break. We'll see you in 2 weeks. Stay tuned at FSCMocs.com. Lots of big ones.